Okay, so about 4 or 5 years ago, we were working with BET, which is Black Entertainment Television network here in New York, and we put them through the VJ boot camp. That was to train them to shoot and cut their own stuff. And a lot of people have done this, and we've run a lot of boot camps. And the way the boot camps work, if you ever went to one or you want to go to one, is, you go out every day and you shoot a story, and you get the instruction, then you come back and cut it. So in the case of BET, we had a group of around 12 or 15 people in each session, and they went out and shot stories. And we come back and we screen them, and this one guy was absolutely fantastic. He made one of the most talented people I ever ran into, and I've been doing this for like 30 years. So he was sitting next to me at the table, and I turned to him, which is a natural thing to do, and I say, "What did you do before this?" And a lot of people say, "I was a filmmaker, I went to journalism school," stuff like that. And what he said instead was, he said, "I was in prison for 8 years." And I said, "You're kidding, what for?" And he said, "For armed robbery." Well, it was true. He had grown up in the projects in East Brooklyn, and that's what you see the world as. And so he joined a gang and got involved in armed robbery, and he was shot. I don't meet people like this every day. Anyway, his name is Samson Stiles, and I said, "What happened?" We said, "Well, when he got out of prison," of course, prison doesn't really prepare you for anything. He got out of prison, probably he would have gone right back into the streets and gangs, except somebody gave him a video camera. And he took the camera and he started to shoot. He was a natural. He just started to shoot video, girl gangs, because that's what he had access to. And he took his stuff. The guy had absolutely no journalism training. And he took his stuff and he took it to BET, which he didn't know anybody there. But it was so good that they not only bought the documentary from him, they hired him, and he was a correspondent at BET for years, and he became good friends. Well, anyway, what the point of the story is that video really changed his life. It gave him, a whole career and a whole life, and he's a correspondent, and he's a journalist, and he makes documentary films. It's a fantastic transformation. So Lisa had this idea that what video did for him, we could do for lots and lots of other people. Of course, we've been in the business training people for years. So we called Samson, we said, "Well, what do you think of this idea about, training? We do it for free. We want to train people in the hood, right? East New York, and we'll do it for free. And so, we need a place to do it." So he said, "I know just the guy," and he took us to an organization in East New York. We went last week, called Man Up, which is run by a terrific guy named T.A. Mitchell, and it's one of these, community development projects. And we explained the idea to T.A. Mitchell, and he liked it too. And so he's got the space and he's got the people. So we said, well, what we're going to do here? We certainly want to train, kids to learn how to shoot video and edit and be editors, because that's a career path that they can follow, and we're happy to do that for free, just as kind of a give back to the community. But then we got this other idea that we said, well, why don't we just launch a television network? Because one of the great problems with local news is the only thing it covers is fires and murders and shootings and robberies and car crashes and stuff like that. Well, of course, that's what gets ratings. Now, in point of fact, fires and murders and robberies and stuff like that have very little to do with people's lives, unless you're the poor bastard whose house burned to the ground. But that's what's on if you watch the news. And if you live in a place like East New York, the only thing you see is kind of bad news. That's when, local news deigns to come out there and do a story. But they don't do really stories about the good things that go on in the community, or the people in the community, or the lives that people in those communities actually have. So we thought, well, you know what? Along with training people to shoot and cut their own stuff, let's launch a network by the people of, in this case, East Brooklyn, for the people, in this case, of East Brooklyn. And one of the great things is, of course, everybody's got a phone, so everybody's got a camera. Everybody shoots video anyway. And, of course, with the internet, anybody can launch a television station, because we do it all the time with other people. So we thought, let's put our money where our mouth is. And so we've entered into an agreement with Man Up and T.A. Mitchell, and Samson Stiles is going to be the face of the network, because he's the living embodiment of what we think we can do for hundreds and maybe thousands of people. So we're going to have a big meetup there on December 16th, and we're going to kind of explain the whole idea and then open the door to anybody in the community who wants to come in and learn to shoot and cut. And of course, the fact is, everybody got a smartphone, so everybody already has a camera and an edit system. It's just a question of putting it to use to tell very different kinds of stories and create a totally different kind of a network. This is Many years ago, I did a project called Harlem Live, which was, maybe 20 years ago I did this thing, and it was kind of the same idea, except in those days we had to give people video cameras and we had to give them computers to edit on, and it was very expensive, and there was no internet to put the stuff out on, but the concept was the same. The concept was that kids who lived in Harlem turned on Channel 2 News, and all they saw about Harlem was fires or murders or shootings or drugs or stuff like that. And of course, that didn't really reflect the reality of the world in which they lived. So we tried to launch it in Harlem, and the fact is that once I had the stuff, and the kids made pretty good stuff, nobody would air it. I took it to New York 1, they didn't want it. I took it to Channel 2, they didn't want it. Because this is with their reporters, their crews, their crap. So instead, the only place we could show it was, in the offices of Harlem 1. But today, the internet has changed all of that. So starting December 16th, we're going to officially launch, I think we're going to call it Man Up TV for A.T. Mitchell's Man Up organization. And it really is going to be news and stories and also films and documentaries and comedy and whatever people want. It's a television channel, for Christ's sake. And it's going to be about whatever people in the community want to make. Television now works this way. We make it, you watch it. But this whole thing we're doing in East Harlem is going to work the other way. Everybody makes it and everybody shares it. It's just like Facebook and Instagram, except now it has content and purpose. And on top of that, people are going to be trained in a skill set that hopefully they can carry with them the rest of their lives and will change their lives just like it did for my buddy Samson. So that's the idea, and if you would like to participate in this and be a part of it, get in touch with me because we're looking for as many people who can help out with this thing as possible. I think it's a fantastic project, and I hope you'll join it with us. As an aside, actually having nothing to do with this whatsoever, you may remember last week I went out and shot some video with the iPhone 10, and we've cut together a little 30-second or 1-minute snippet of some fantastic beauty shots just to show you what the camera can do. We're going to post this on VJ World, so take a look. But in the meantime, I hope you'll take a real interest in this project, and we'll keep you up to date as it proceeds. But to me, if it works in East New York with Man Up, it's something that we could do all over the country and all over the world. So I have high hopes for this thing. I'll talk to you later.